Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your models will practically build themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to today's show. Today we are going to be looking at some of the Warhammer figures that I have been painting over the past, now 4 months that I've been working on my particular personal army. And we're not going to look at the actual company itself today, but we're going to look at some of the individual figures plus a couple of smaller squads that I have done. There are a couple of specialty groups that aren't necessarily part of the Blood Angels that I've gone ahead and, well, one of them is and one of them isn't. Let's put it that way. I'm going to show you a group of Black Templars that I've decided to dabble into because they just look so cool. And I'm going to show you my Death Company, which is 10 figures plus their Chaplin plus Astrograth the Grim. And we'll explain all this, and we'll show this to you here in just a minute. I've also got a Librarian that I'm going to show you today, and I will show you Mephiston, which is another figure that I have built, which is part of this army. So if you have any questions, please leave in the comments about the techniques. I'm not going to go into techniques a lot because they're already finished. I will maybe highlight some of the things I've done, but as far as like a painting tutorial, anything like that, I'm certainly not the one right now to do that because I'm learning myself. But wanted to show you the results that I've been able to turn out in this short time. So stick with Mad Dog Merv today as we look at some of my Warhammer 40K Space Marines, particularly my Black Templars and my my Death Company.
I'm going to start out by showing you something that we have looked at before, and that is this upgrade kit for the Blood Angels. It's got a bunch of the iconography, it's got some of the relics, it's got different heads, but the paladrons, it's got the raised symbol for the Blood Angels on there. You'll also notice the swords and the chain sword. You'll see those here in a few minutes and some other things that we're going to be doing. So first off, remember this guy. I think I showed him to you a couple months ago. But anyway, he was part of my company. I'd painted him black just because the armor looked cool. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to return him back to where he belongs with the Templars. So here he is, Sergeant with his Templar paladrons on. Went ahead and tried to make the lantern as best I could with a yellow glow. That didn't work out so good, but also changed the head. And you'll notice here the power sword. I'm working on these, lightning bolts. Those paladrons look really cool on his shoulders. And of course, I'm working on capes, trying to get the contrast down and make them look even better. This one turned out pretty good, I think. And he came in a set that was Templars Crusade Squad. So some of the other figures I've used in my regular company, painted them red. So one of the things that comes in this group are these aspirants here that they're not quite the Primaris Marines yet. They're working their way up. But you can see I've got them not edge highlighted, but I went over them with a dry brush, and they turned out pretty good. I really like the way these guys look. And so here's my, at least the beginnings of my Templar. I don't know that I'll do a company, but these guys, to me, they're just really cool looking. So anyway, we'll go from them to a Librarian. Now, my Blood Angels Librarian, they are in the blue armor with the red Paladrons. I went ahead and I did some modifications to him to make him look unlike the one that I did for my son who's doing the Ultramarines. You'll notice I put a big old eagle icon up on the top, and this was a good opportunity for me to do some edge highlighting, to work on the power axe. Um, for the runes, I decided since he's got dark blue armor, I was going to maybe go with green or a different color, but I decided to go ahead and go with orange. And you can see how that turned out. I do like it. He looks a little Denver Broncos-ish, but hey. For the power nodes, I used Tesseract Glow. Normally those would be blue, but again, I decided to deviate from the plan a little bit, and I do like the way that it all contrasts. Changed the little icon or the relic that he's got on his hand there, and you'll get a close-up look at that here in a minute. I do need to do a little bit of touch-up paint on this though, but also the glow, the green glow on his hand for the power. I like how that one turned out. A few little things I got to touch up here, but for the most part, I'm happy with how he turned out. Even his glowing blue power eyes, I like how they turned out as well. So not bad for my first time doing one of these. You'll see on this Paladron here on the right shoulder, I actually took that from another from that set, tore it apart basically, and kind of scraped it down to size, and it fit perfectly right there. So really happy with how that one turned out. You'll see him here on the base, but that's my Librarian for my Blood Angels. Now let's move on to Mephiston. This was a great opportunity to do some blending when it came to the cape. Another, lightning sword I've been working on. I probably need to put a nice shiny clear coat on the vials of blood. His glowing blue eyes. And this is one that I used one of those 3D printed blasts for the plasma blast coming out of the pistol. Really like the way he looks. I do need to do a little work on the cape though. I think it's too contrasting, at least in my opinion. So I do need to tone that down a little bit at some point in time. But here is how he turned out. I like him. So next we're going to go to Astrograth the Grim. And he's more of the Lord High Executioner for the Blood Angels, for anyone that gets the what's called the Black Rage. He mercifully ends their life for them. This is a great sculpt. A lot of fun. Look at that Paladron with the skulls all over it. Really cool looking. Used a little bit different red this time. This was more of a magenta that I did the armor in. And can't remember the gold I used. It wasn't Retributor gold, but it was a different one from AK Interactive. I do like how he turned out. The base was really simple, basically standing on. He is part of the sculpt, and all I did was some of that coffee ground mixture for the rest of the groundwork. I think it blended in just fine. He was about a 12 to 13 hour project, so pretty easy, pretty quick. And like I said, I like the way he turned out. I went ahead and got all the highlights in his hair and whatnot as well. So here's Lamartes. He is the chaplain for the Death Company. I won't go into what the Death Company is, but they are blood angels that basically have lost their mind, and they go insane, more or less. They have this rage, this thirst for blood, and he is pretty much the head of that company. A lot of fun on the edge highlighting here. I really enjoyed this opportunity to try and get these contrasting areas, and I do like how he turned out. Even the power pack I thought turned out pretty good for my first time trying to do a jump pack like this. So there you go. He's a good addition to my uh, Death Company. Speaking of the Death Company, here they are. I went ahead and I took 10 figures. They were the Intercessor figures, that just the regular Ultramarines. Changed the Paladrons for the most part on their shoulders, and gave them a few other things. You'll see some of the power swords, some of the relic weapons that were in that Blood Angel add-on set. And you'll also notice these bases that I have been talking to you folks about for a while, and how they turn out with them. On these blasts, I still need to do a little bit of work. I need to color them a little bit better. So not quite 100% finished, but close, pretty close. We'll go through them real quick, and you'll get to see how they look. That angry look. I like these weapons. They are so cool. Yep, got to work on that blast a little bit. Oh yeah, and there's another power sword with some lightning. Again, I have a long way to go on those to make them look really, really good. Here's a guy changing out his magazine. Okay, so that's the first 5. Here's the second 5. I went ahead and put them on my ice bases, and really like how these guys turned out. You can see the big, huge chain sword there. That's again from that add-on kit. And just some other weapons that I got from my spare parts box that some of these guys are wearing. Some of the iconography for the Death Company. I do need to still write on their parchment. Still need to take care of that. But all in all, really like how these guys have turned out so far. Again, dry brushing on these guys. I didn't do actual edge highlighting. This was all dry brushing. But these faces are awesome. These angry, insane faces. They are great. There's one. He's got quite the scar on his face, and you can't really see it here. But there's a better shot of it. I did my best to try and make that look like a pretty decent scar. And some of these stones that they're standing on have come from my model railroad layout. And then some of these are just the cork that you have seen before. But again, here's one of those big, nasty power swords. Chain swords. Thank you. But I do like the way these guys turned out. So anyway, folks, I hope you like that. There's a skull, by the way, in the ice on this one. I do need to work on the ice just a little bit.
So this is just an old cookie sheet. Needs to be a metal one, not aluminum, obviously. But you can see they're pretty easy to lift. Depending on which magnet I used. I don't have a magnet on him. I better get one on him. Pretty good. But you can see the magnets. Usually they're around a 2mm by 6mm or a 2x8. Just kind of depends. One of these guys here has the 6. But anyway, the cool thing about it is you can see I can, carry them without having them slide all over the place and get damaged.